All right. Um, it's a tough place to be, to do these videos, and um, it's a tough place. I think sometimes I'm back in that place. You know why? Because I know that it's about getting back in the right place. And sometimes it's not always easy when you've been out of it for a minute. I still encourage, still lift people up regardless of the situation. And the last few days have not been the best for me because of lost a close personal friend who meant a lot to me, and he meant a lot to other people. And I took it really hard because it's hard to understand, somebody that you served with in church, and you served with them, and I don't know, you spent a lot of time with them. They were always the one person in the room that was encouraging and uplifting people up. And probably the one thing that he would say, the one thing I heard him say more than anything, it's his power and it's his grace and it's love, the love of God that will get you through whatever you're going through. Whether it's your kids, whether it's a illness, whether it's a job transition, it's his grace that allows you to do what you do and to be able to operate in the way that you do. And I think sometimes we forget about that when we're going through a fight of our life. And, here's another thing. A lot of times we don't think about these things and there's so much to be learned from other people. I was just reading about how selfless this man was. He cared deeply about other people. He didn't want the attention on himself. He didn't want to be reflecting on his own battle, his own war that he was going through. And that's, man, if that doesn't tell you that what kind of man he was, I don't know what is. What will? Selfless. It's kind of like Christ, in a way, how, Christ, when he lived this earth, when he was on this earth, he was selfless. Everything he did wasn't with some sort of preconceived notion to just try and benefit himself, but really, how can I bring glory to God in all of this? And you think, how in the world are you going to bring glory and you're dying of cancer? But I think that when you can peel back the onion, it's like an onion peel, and you realize, hey, you know what? This life is not about yourself. It's not about trying to make yourself happy, trying to fill up your own bank account, trying to have the perfect life, the perfect wife, the perfect kids, the perfect job, all those things can mean nothing to God. They might make you happy in this life, but God's like, I'm all about trying to be lifted up. I'm all about trying to be glorified. I want to be glorified in everything you say, everything you do. And I want that to be your life song. Several years ago, the band, I forget the name of the band, but they had this song called Life Song. And it was powerful, It became an anthem for so many people. It became a rallying cry like, hey, what is your life song? What does your life sing? What song are you singing? And I think sometimes we get so crazy and messed up in the mess of it all and realize, we forget. This life is about trying to bring others to His, bring other people. If you call yourself part of God's family, it's about bringing people to God. It's about bringing people closer to Him, closer to His side. And sometimes we get all sidetracked. We get sidetracked thinking, oh yeah, woo, 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 I'm this, I'm that. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do this thing over here or that thing over there. And it's like God will sit there and say, no, I called you to go and in this case, I feel like I was in church today and I said, God pressed upon my heart, it's like, hey, you need to get back into doing those videos. Don't do them on Facebook Live, because Facebook Live, people watch what you're doing. Hey, how's it going? What are you doing? And it becomes a distraction. It becomes all about you. And it's like, hey, this is not about you. This is about me. This is about the message that I want to be said. And that's really what it is. I don't care where you're at in life. I don't care if you believe in God or not. Here's the thing. I'm sowing seeds. I'm a sow, and I'm a sow. And I don't care if you like me or hate me. It doesn't matter to me. You got to do what you feel is right. What's in your heart. And I'm going to get back into this, obviously. Willingly obey. And doing it on Matt, but I'm also saying, okay, God, I'm all in, God. I want to do what you said, what you want me to do. If you want me to go and do this, then by all means, I'm doing it. I don't care anymore. I'm cashing in my chips, and let's do this. If you want to do it, let's do it, and link up. And sometimes that's what it's all about. Sometimes you're going to have to do things and do things that maybe are uncomfortable, and just, why do I have to do that? But He's obviously not going to push you out into doing something that maybe you don't want to do. And He's always going to push you to something where you're gifted at too, I've noticed, And sometimes it's like, we can look at it, there's two ways we can look at it. We can look at it two ways. He has given you everything that you need to be a success. I think about everything that Matt did, everything he said, over the time that I had the privilege of knowing him. And it was like, he was an incredible, amazing, gifted, powerful man. And there's so many principles that I could say. He was a servant leader. He led by example, and he challenged people. And as the intensity grew, he lifted up people to a higher place and brought people up to that place, because he wanted the best out of each and every one of whoever was working alongside him. And he wanted everybody to be blessed. He wanted everybody to be doing great. And as you pressed into him, as you pressed into God, guess what? That level of intensity rose on the inside. And you like I said, the true mark of a leader is if you put a leader with a bunch of random people, and they lift everybody up, and he lifts everybody, or she lifts everybody up, and puts that person or those people in that room, brings them up to a higher level, that's huge. That's big. But also being a servant leader, not being afraid to be a servant, because to be a servant is to be the chief leader of all. And that's what Christ was. When he walked this earth, he was a servant leader. Somebody that served diligently, did what his Father asked him to do, and overcame everything to be leader. And there's so many things in that. It's like, if you're wanting to get to a place of being in leadership, whether it's a job, whether it's a business, there's something to be said there. You gotta be a somebody that serves and loves compassion, loves wholeheartedly, and isn't afraid to just serve. You got to be able to serve. You got to be a servant. You got to serve other people. You got to be able to meet people where they're at and be able to love them on a deep, unconditional level without any kind of, well, I wouldn't do that. you know, and that's really what it is. I think sometimes that there's so many lessons that can be learned from him. And I can look at it this way and know that God alone is what sustained him. It's been the goodness of God. It's been the grace of God that's gotten him through. And it's like, I think through that whole fight that he had, and you can say, well, but he died. Didn't. But you know what? It's not about you. There's a lot of people that go through things in this life that think, wow, it's all about God drawing many people. And they say, how is that even possible? The guy died of cancer. How is God going to use that for his glory? How is God going to use that for his honor, for his name, to be able to, and that's where you can kind of get off track and say, well, but you know what? Wait a minute. Hold the phone. You got to look at it and say, look, God honored him. And to this day, we all honor him, those that knew him, and we respect the life that he lived. And that and that when you respect and know that the life that he lived was great, you don't have to sit there and wonder if he lived a life that was honorable and respectable and of courage and valor. He did. He went out there and did it. And I can look at my own life, but when I had surgery back in December, and I took it like a champ. A lot of people anybody else in that position probably would have been like, I don't know, freaking out, scared. Not me. Sometimes you gotta have a realization that it's not about you. It's about Jesus in you. It's about Christ. It's about the hope of glory. That through all of that, let your prayer be this: let your will be done in me, O Lord. Let your will be done as it is in heaven. Let your will be complete in me. Let your will be done. So that when his will is complete in you, guess what? That is an amazing place to be. When you have that to, when you have that to look at and know that God alone is what will sustain you. God alone is what will get you through it, complete and entire. And I know I'm going long-winded here. It's 13 minutes, or whatever. That's okay. So it's kind of where I'm at. I think sometimes we just have to kind of go out there and you have to do it. And that's kind of what this says. And I think the biggest thing is this: obey, obey, obey. And as you do that, God's going to reward you. It may not be money, it may not be this or that, but you know what? That's okay. Sometimes you just have to do things and know that, it may not be, it's all about His glory, it's all about His kingdom. When His kingdom has come to this earth, guess what? We're going to see an outpouring that we've never seen in this world. We're going to see things that we never thought we would see. But that's all there is to it. So, peace out.